Are you ready?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Tool to Play presents Still Got Game with Derek D. Smooth Nolan and Joel Dude I Rock Albert.
If you'd like to sponsor Still Got Game, email us at podcast@tooltoplay.com. Hey now, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Still Got Game, episode 308. Still Got Game is the official podcast of tooltoplay.com. I am, as always, Derek D. Smooth Nolan.
And I am Joel Dude I Rock Albert.
Joel Dude I Rock Albert. We're coming off a 2-week hiatus here.
That's right.
People are not happy.
People are not happy, but you know, sometimes things come up in life and you've got to take time to reflect upon those things. And that means not having a show, unfortunately.
This is true. I don't remember what our conflict was 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago was...
I know the anniversary, obviously.
Yeah, last week was my anniversary, so we had some plans, so I could not do anything then. But yeah, 2 weeks ago, I don't remember, but we're back. We almost didn't have a show tonight when Hit was like, "It's a holiday here, eh?"
Wasn't that it too? It was like 2 weeks ago Hit couldn't do it because he had some shit going on?
Probably.
Oh yeah, it was like his whatever Thanksgiving
it was Easter.
thing.
Yeah, it was like,
Easter,
even though Easter was yesterday, my family might be coming over on Monday to celebrate Easter right during the showtime, eh? And we're like, "Oh, okay, Hit, that's cool, bro. Yeah, whatever excuse. You got something else going on. It's cool. Just pretend Easter's on a Monday." But we are back, and we are back with a vengeance, although we may have forgotten how to do this, but we're going to try. We're going to give you our best shot. That's all we can ask for.
That's all we got.
Yes. All right, well, let's jump right in. Hit the ground running feedback from last week's show, which is now 3 weeks ago's show. Remember, if you want to leave us a voicemail, it will cut you off after a minute. Red Sun comments. I am done writing into your show and done listening. I gave you a second chance, and you used it to be unfunny again and made fun of me again. That, again, was pretty redundant there, Red Sun. Mm-hmm. Fuck you both to hell.
God, it's so beautiful. Yeah. Look, if he comes back after this is
this is what we said last time.
This would mean if this happens one more time, this means he waited the 2 weeks too. Yeah. He took the hiatus to really think about it, came back for another rebuttal. I only pray that he does. I pray.
I would have to think he's gone for good at this point. Like even if he was like waiting around with bated breath the next week and we didn't have a show and he was like, "Oh, those fucking unfunny asshole motherfuckers." And then came out the following week and there was still no show. At that point, he's forgotten about us, right?
I suppose so. I mean, I think it would be better if he started a podcast of his own that was dedicated to hating us. Then I would feel fulfilled completely. Like if I can get that message out there for him that, hey, grab a mic of your own, get some friends that are super, super funny, clearly because we're not, and do a podcast of your own, I would write in every day.
He's like, "Hey now, this is the Red Sun Show. This is the show where we make fun of Still Got Game each and every week. I am Red Sun. Fuck those unfunny assholes."
That sounds great.
That's kind of how I picture his voice. I don't know.
Yeah, well,
it could be wrong.
We should give him a fair chance of rebuttal. If you'd like to call us at 773-527-2961. Give us a call.
Yeah,
we want to hear from you.
Your real voice.
Leave a message. As long as you want, it will cut you off. But as long as you want, feel free.
Now, the irony of this is that if he really is at home and his voice is, he's like, "I can't call now. They'll know."
Which is probably true.
Yes, that's all I can expect. But I am hoping and really seriously thinking we're done with Red Snow at this point. But it was fun while it lasted. All right. Switzer comments. I love how you have devoted a little bit of each of the last couple episodes to your detractor, Red Sun. It is both funny and amusing. Love the show. Keep up the great work. Well, Switzer, we have dedicated even more of this episode to Red Sun. Although you spelled his name normally, like as if he wasn't like a lowercase leet speaker. But for those of you trying to find him, he is R3D Sun, S-U-N, all lowercase. You can probably find him out there on the internets.
Now, is this through Twitter or where's this coming from?
This was from an email.
Oh, damn it.
Yes.
I want to get on his friends list so bad.
Oh, follow Red Sun, retweet everything he says. That's trolling A+ style.
Exactly.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you, Switzer. And we aim to please. And last but not least, Filler Up comments. New to the video version, but a longtime podcast listener. It's pretty baller that I can pick up between the It's pretty baller that I can pick between the formats depending on when and where I'm consuming the show. I'm still predominantly podcast, but will watch the video version whenever I can. Well,
that's all we can ask. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Sometimes you just can't watch video. You're in the car. Yeah. Video is, I still recommend it, but the law recommends against it.
Yeah.
Yes. But yes, we're glad you're here any which way you come. And like Hid and I were talking pre-show, the predominant base of our listenership is still listeners and not viewers. We would like that to change because we do make a big effort here to do all of this. But, sometimes you just have to listen.
It's no big deal, yeah. Whatever way you find is easiest to consume the show, we're all about.
Yeah.
But we're here regardless. That's the thing. So if you want to see us live and you want to see video, or if you want to just see video, you can go to YouTube. There's millions of ways to consume this. But yeah, I mean, if you ever want to come out and just chat, we're always here on Monday nights. And so we're always around. So yeah, feel free to stop by.
Yep.
Say hi.
Yes. So thank you for the kind words, Filler Up. And if any of you have awesome feedback, like the detractor Red Sun, or quality folks like Switzer and Filler Up, give us a call, 773-527-2961, or email us at podcast@tooltoplay.com. And in site-related news, just quickly touching, we still have the Tool to Play Twitch team page up. We got some new people coming on there. That's at twitch.tv/team/tooltoplay. And there's going to be more and more content added there. So you definitely want to check that out and be aware of that. And then on the Tool to Play proper side of things, there's some behind-the-scenes stuff going on, right, Jay?
Yeah, so I finally set aside some time over the last week and a half to do the migration to the new platform. All the data is moved over. It syncs every night at around 12 o'clock. So any data that you're currently entering into the old Tool to Play will be automatically ported over to the new one. We'll have some more news on that once things get going, but I've been kind of showing it around, played with it like actually right before the show. There's a lot more flashbang whiz, but overall it's a very clean version, probably the cleanest version we've ever done. Stripped out a ton of the functionality, which normally people don't want to hear, but in our case, it's a good thing. We're going back to bare bones. It's going to be about news. It's going to be about the forums, and that's it. You have your blogs, your news, your forums, of course, the Twitch page and everything else embedded under the site. But realistically, it's just going to be mobile first, ready, responsive, fast as humanly possible version of Tool to Play. When that's coming, I don't know, but I've been actually going at a pretty fast pace, so we'll see.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That's good news.
Good stuff.
So coming sooner than you think.
Hopefully.
Or later than you hoped.
Or later than you hoped, probably.
One or the other. We always hit one of those two marks.
Yeah.
Yes, usually the latter. All right, Jay. Well, on that, why don't we jump on over into what we're playing? Joel, Dude, I Rock, Albert. What have you been playing these last few weeks?
Last week I played a lot more cities. I've been building cities pretty much nonstop.
Pimp.
Huge fan of the game. Totally worth the amount of money. If anyone has any extra dollars laying around, totally worth the price. In fact, I would almost say it's underpriced for how quality of a game it really is. Still play a little bit of World of Warcraft Tuesdays, Thursdays as normal. Finally got around to buying GTA and started playing that, I think, like last Friday. I did the online tutorial with Bubba and all those guys to try to start doing the online stuff. But actually, I'm just more interested in story mode at the moment, just to play through that stuff. So yeah, I actually had a decent amount of gaming time this week. What about you?
Very nice. Well, every week, all I play is Destiny all the time.
Why would you play anything else?
I know. I love it. I do 3 of everything every week. All 332s. It's a good time. But, and this is not in the news this week, so we'll cover it quickly here. House of Wolves was detailed. And I know you were not a fan of the lack of raid.
Well,
which, to be honest, I also was disappointed that the raid was not going to be part of this. But at the same time, I pointed out an article out of Forbes that said of all of the Destiny players everywhere, only 19% of players have ever completed a raid. So,
and here's the thing with that statement. Totally correct. And I think I actually had the same interchange on our Facebook page with Caesar last week. But the problem with that is that's very true. But I don't give a shit about those people. This is the core part of the argument. I play the game for this particular reason. So just because 99% of the player base decides not to play raids doesn't mean that I give a shit that they don't play raids. I play raids. The other argument that comes up is, well, yes, but they did announce they are going to have a raid. The problem with that is I don't give a shit that they're going to have a raid. We know that they're going to eventually have a raid at some point in the future. That's just common sense. The argument is that the raid isn't coming soon enough. And there's a sort of dissension, or at least a lot of the people that were the hardcore Destiny players feel like, and whether they're right or wrong is kind of irrelevant, they feel like they've been let down, and they also feel like they're not getting their money's worth. Even if they include that raid in the price of this download, it's the time is the reason people are so mad. It doesn't matter if I pay for the raid and I know I'm getting it in June or August or September. I still don't have what I want to do tomorrow or the next month. And that's the problem. So I totally agree. It's probably not the end of the world. It's probably not a huge deal for 99% of the user base, but I'm not 99% of the user base. I want a new raid tomorrow. In fact, I want a new raid last month because I already feel like it's gone way too long. The span between endgame content cannot be 5 to 6 months. Can't be that much. Just can't.
There's
too many problems there.
I love the raids myself, but I feel like, look at whatever the problems everybody had with Crota. They felt it was rushed out and it was easy. It was broken. And Crota, you can finish in 32 minutes on hard.
Yeah.
Like easy every time. You go back and play Vaulted Glass on hard, you're not finishing in 32 minutes.
Well, some will, obviously. Some people will.
Yep.
I mean, they will.
You might
finish. People have finished it in 32 minutes with 2 people before. I mean, you know what I mean? Like it's.
Oh yeah, there's your anomalies.
There's your anomalies. Yeah.
For the most part, you're not going to finish Vault in 32 minutes. And Vault is definitely a more complex raid than Crota is.
Agreed. It's just longer in general. I mean, like the raid is just, it takes more. There's more thought you can tell put into that raid than there is in Crota. You couldn't pretend as if they are the same, on the same level.
So maybe that's what they're trying to do with this next raid is they want to put in that extra thought time. And you know what? As much as I would like another new raid and not run my Crotas and my VOGs every week, if I end up getting a better raid and I might like this horde mode thing, who knows? Maybe it's enough to tide me over.
It could be. And that's the thing is, and the other argument, which I have to agree with it, to go on the other side of that is we don't really know what's coming in this I guess expansion, if you want to call that DLC. I mean, we just don't know. It could be enough to tide people over for 2, 3, 4, 5 months. It's still, the problem is that it doesn't tide raiders over, specifically people that want to play the game or bought Destiny because they're interested in doing the raids. No matter which way you spin it, those guys aren't raiding for another 2, 3 months, 4 months. I don't know because they haven't given us a date. And that's the real bummer. Like for me, it's just, there's a lot of ways to spin it in which this could be a good thing and be healthy for the game. And certainly building these raids must take a large amount of time. I don't want to discount that either. I'm sure it's a tough job. The problem is, as consumers, as gamers, no one gives a shit how hard it is to build things. Like at the end of the day, I don't want you to tell me I can't give this to you because it's hard. We don't care. We ultimately want the content. You build your team to deliver content to keep me satisfied to play the game, and I'll gladly pay you the money. That's how consumerism works. And unfortunately, in this way, I feel like they're letting a lot of these consumers down. That's it, It's a bummer.
I would concur.
All right.
All right. Well, normally at this point of the show, we would jump into new releases, but there are no major new releases out this week. This is almost the start end of the slump, with the exception of like Mortal Kombat X last week or whatever. There's going to be a couple outliers in between here and E3, but for the most part, this is your lull period. Next month and a half, going to be really, really slow. Very few major new releases, and you get used to it because we'll make up for it in news and making fun of our commenters.
Agreed.
So I guess on that, Jay, why don't we hop on over into gaming news? First story up, we're talking about Xbox at E3, and basically Xbox E3 will focus more on first party this year. With new exclusive IP that's been teased. So if you guys are hoping for any new stuff, hopefully Xbox will bring the thunder this year around, since I don't know what else there is to talk about, So with under 2 months to go before E3, which is crazy that it's 2 months away, Microsoft has started to tease its plans for the show. Xbox boss Phil Spencer writes on Twitter that fans can expect this year's event to feel, quote, different from past shows,
primarily because Microsoft is going to focus more on first-party titles with its briefing than previous events, which is cool because for the last, I want to say 5 years, first-party has really taken a backseat to pretty much everything. So I'm really hoping this is something special. Let's pray. Spencer revealed the news on Twitter in a back and forth with fans who asked about what Microsoft may have up its sleeve for E3 2015. He started off by teasing that Microsoft, quote, should have a new exclusive IP at E3, end quote, adding that he is trying to make this E3 more about first party than past E3s. This doesn't mean that third-party games will be missing at Microsoft's E3 show this summer. Spencer stressed in a follow-up tweet, and to be clear, we will have third-party deals. It's just, in my opinion, important to focus on support for our first party, he said. Among other franchises, Activision's Call of Duty series is one of the biggest third-party games that historically gets staged at Microsoft's annual E3 event. This, of course, is likely due to Microsoft's long-standing exclusivity arrangement with Activision for the Call of Duty DLC. Spencer went on to say that he is aware that Microsoft's new first-party E3 focus means this year's show might feel different from past E3s, end quote. However, quote, I like focusing on our games, he explained. Good. You fucking should.
That's a pro move.
Yeah, pro. Good job focusing on your shit. Very confused. Some of Microsoft's first-party game announcements from last year's E3 included Scalebound and new entries in the Crackdown and Phantom Dust franchises, if you guys remember those. Looking to this year, Microsoft has already said it plans to talk more about Halo 5, surprise, surprise, Forza Motorsports, surprise, surprise, and something new in the Gears of War franchise at E3. Other first-party possibilities include Rare's new game and Quantum Break, which seems to be delayed every single year we ever go there, which is, I think, now slated for 2016. While there's always surprises kept under the wraps until the big show. So what are your thoughts? Do you think we're actually going to see like a brand? He teases as like a brand new IP. I'm really wondering what the hell that's usually they don't want to spend the money on something like that. So
that's how I'm reading this, because it's not like he's saying it's an exclusive IP, a new title in an exclusive IP franchise. He's saying this is a new exclusive IP. And granted, we've had other, like Ori and the Blind Forest was a new exclusive IP, and that's not really, like, people loved it. I'm not shitting on the game, but people, it's not a title that you would consider a AAA title. But I think this is a good move overall for them, because I feel like the Microsoft press conference gets a little bit the same. It starts out, you've got Call of Duty and you've got all the same big titles over and over and over and over. And, then you kind of flip into these, you get your Forza's coming, you have your Halo in there. But I think this is good to have some other new IP that they're genuinely excited about. If Phil Spencer is excited about it, it's got to be a good thing.
Yeah, and I hope it is. I mean, the big thing with anytime you release a new IP is there's a lot of money behind it without a lot of guaranteed return on investment. And I'm actually surprised that this is like a thing. And I would be surprised if there is a new IP. I think there'd probably only be one or two. I can't imagine they put a lot of money into a lot of that stuff, because no matter what, the cash cows are still going to bring the money home. You're still going to have your Call of Duties. You're still going to have, although I will say Call of Duty, at least this last iteration, I don't think did nearly as well. It might have done well in sales, but I don't think the reception was nearly as high.
They all do well in sales.
Yeah, I mean, every asshole buys Call of Duty.
It's the last time I'm buying it, then they go buy it.
And they buy it, yeah, and it's sort of like this thing. So, I mean, there is that. They're always going to have that money in the coffer for themselves. And maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's like propping them up to have the ability to do these things. But I hope, and I always say this, I hope any new IP they come up with is a huge success, because that means anytime they want to build a new game, they won't be nearly as scared to get involved and actually start building out teams to actually do these things. So I'm hoping that's the case. I find the statement extremely ironic. I think it's weird to hear it from someone to basically say, like, this time we're actually going to focus on our games. I mean, you should, please.
There should always be some amount of your focus, should be.
Yeah, like you should want to do. I think what's been lacking in gaming, especially for Microsoft and Sony, is really it's been a third-party circle jerk for the last 5-6 years of gaming. I mean, as soon as, and I'm not going to say Halo is the start of it, but around that era where you had a lot of games sort of birth out of that time frame, those games have literally what has been satiating the masses for the last 5-6 years. And there's been like this, slowly trickling in of new IPs along that pathway. But for the majority of it, we've been seeing part 3, part 7, part 24 of every fucking game we played since Tool to Play started, right?
It's not just Microsoft though. In defense,
not.
Sony has Metal Gear Solid. They like each side has been milking their exclusive IP cows for too long, and eventually you need to get another cow in there because your cow's going to die at some point. And
I think people see that with Call of Duty. I think reception is getting a little bit thinner on the games like that, and people are a little bit less weary to put their money. And certainly with what's happened with Halo in the last year and a half, they've sort of single-handedly destroyed their own franchise. I think some people have said the beta had a decently good reception. I don't know if that's necessarily the case. I think it was okay. Certainly the debacle with MCC didn't help that franchise either. So, maybe it's time to step outside your shell and actually focus on the games that your company's making and put money and time and promotion into those things. It's a good thing. So, that's how we feel. All right, next story, everybody. Here we go. Story. Project Cars will finally be coming out, May 6th. This is via Joystick and Engadget. Or I guess Joystick is now Engadget. Joystick X. That poor, Joystick sad
X Engadget.
Poor, sad amalgamation of shit. Remember Project Cars, the beautiful sim racer from the team behind Need for Speed Shift? I don't either. But anyway, it's about to finally come out and relatively soon, or at least that's what developer Slightly Mad Studios is promising. Anyway, after 3 embarrassing delays, we finally got the new release date for your calendar, which of course is May 6th. The game will be available first on PC via Steam in the US before a staggered international release on the PS4 and Xbox One. It will arrive in Europe and Australia on May 7th, followed by the UK on May 8th, and North America on May 12th. There's no word, of course, on a Wii U version. Shocker. I don't even know. We had it quoted as this may be a little worrying, but I don't even know if I don't think anyone even cares anymore. So don't worry too much about it. Just get a real system and you'll be fine. Sony and Microsoft's latest consoles already offer very realistic games when it comes to the racing, like Forza Motorsports, of course, Forza Horizon and Drive Club, but Project Cars is shaping up to be a worthy contender, at least in the graphics department. None of us have obviously played the game, so we don't really know. The latest trailers and screenshots look drop-dead gorgeous, more likely because they're on a PC, with pixel-perfect cars and immersive weather effects. As usual, it seems PC will be the optimal platform, shocker, if you have a high-end gaming rig, of course. And by high end, I mean if you want to beat the Xbox One, you simply have to spend maybe $700, if that. The games support a whopping 12K resolution, which is fucking insane. I mean, that's seriously, that's the only word for it. That's fucking insane. That pretty much shits on 1080p and 60 frames per second offered by PS4, as well as the 900p and 60 frames on the Xbox One. So if you want to go balls deep, you can. But be prepared to sell your car and possibly your home. Not that many people, of course, have 4K monitors just laying around, but the option is there. And I will say for racers, they are so emphatic about stuff like this. I totally can see them building like this mega monolith for like $20,000 just to play this on like a big screen. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on this game? It does look gorgeous. I saw the screens. It looks pretty amazing for a racing game. Obviously, we're not racing people, but...
No, I know we have a huge racing base, and getting some other contender into, so it's not just your Gran Turismos and your Drive Clubs on the PlayStation side. It's not just your Forzas and whatever other bullshit on your Xbox side. This is a legit third-party contender. It is made up of the guys that used to work on Need for Speed. They got shat on. They got booted out, and now they're in here. They're a huge player in this fucking industry. And this game looks like it makes Forza look like a kid's game. So I don't know. I wish them the best. I hope this works out well for them. And I guess gameplay is really what's going to boil down to. Because if you're just going for a car simulator, their game looks like an amazing car simulator. So.
And I think everyone like in our forums and whatnot has been like pretty, so far I've only seen the hype train. I haven't seen anyone really giving out any negative feedback. Not that there'd be too much feedback to give since no one's played the game, but the general hype of people being excited for it is pretty high. So I know that a lot of people, I think the big question now is what hardware they're going to get it on. A lot of people have been talking about, at least from what I've seen, getting it on the PC and setting up their sim there, which does make a lot of sense, especially if you're really into cars and you want as realistic a factor as humanly possible. But it's sort of, run the gamut. Everyone seems to be getting on a different system, but everyone seems to be getting it, at least when it comes to Tool to Play's racing section. So it'll be interesting to see if it's a takeover title. I mean, maybe Forza will finally be nervous, and maybe the delays were for a good reason. Maybe it won't be buggy and shitty.
Yeah, and maybe the console sales would then go back to drive PC sales. So people are playing on their console and they love it, and they're like, you know what? If I had a PC that could play this, I could have 3 4K monitors and do my 12K resolution, and it would be fucking mind blowing. Then I could buy this giant racing seat and for $5,000, and then everybody's like Lord Snowden from Tool to Play.
Exactly.
Yes, but yeah, there's a hardcore PC racing crowd at Tool to Play, and a lot of these guys are still console guys, but some of the guys with huge bank have built out rigs that you and I would, well, frankly, we'd just be embarrassed.
Yeah, I mean, really,
that's like I could either buy like a giant bag of Coke or this racing thing, and by giant bag of Coke I mean like a gallon Ziploc.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. So I would much rather have all that sweet cocaine. Just saying. I don't know. Like racing is only gonna last you so long, but a little bump will keep you going.
Wow.
All right.
No comment.
Next story.
In a fight against spammers, Steam now restricts accounts until users show their hard-earned cash. And this is actually a good thing. I'm going to state it out right now. It's a good thing. All right.
I'm glad that you've given your seal of approval.
I like to give the approval. Yeah, it's my new thing. Is I now read titles and then I immediately give you my opinion without letting anyone else would know what the fuck's going on. In an attempt to combat phishing and spamming, Steam has announced Friday a raft of activity restrictions on accounts that do not show purchase activity. And this makes, to me, a lot of sense. So Valve's digital store will no longer provide certain community benefits until a user has spent at least $5, which I don't think is asking a lot. Or if they've added that $5 to their wallet. So even if you add the $5 to the account, but you haven't even spent it yet, you still get all the benefits. So it's not bad. The benefits will include some friend inviting, which is normal, opening up a group chat, voting on Greenlight games, which is good, or submitting content to the Steam Workshop. And of course, if you go to the website, you can find the full list of all the benefits you get once you've thrown in your cash and you become a real legit member. Quote, "We've chosen to limit access to these features as a means of protecting our customers from those who abuse Steam for purposes such as spamming and phishing," unquote, offered a Steam update. Quote, "Malicious users often operate in the community on accounts which have not spent any money, reducing the individual risk of performing the actions that they do," which, of course, the reason is if you put money into your account, then they find out you are phishing or scamming. They will ban your account and you will lose all the money that you've put into it, so as well as your games. So it makes sense. Quote, "One of the best pieces of information we can compare between regular users and malicious users is that their spending habits are Users are their spending habits, as typically the accounts being used have no investment in their longevity," which again makes sense. Why put money into something if you expect for it to be deleted in the next 3 days? Due to this being a common scenario, we have decided to restrict certain community features until an account has met or exceeded the $5 in Steam. So I saw a lot of people were kind of pissed off about this, which is weird because the people that are usually pissed off about it, they probably are on Steam or use Steam, and I would think at that point have probably spent at least $5 on Steam, right? Am I crazy here?
I don't understand that hate either, and I saw the hate online, but this seems like a good thing all around. It's like, well, instead of just opening up all the fun parts of our community to everybody, let's open up to people that pay like I do for games and for other stuff. And as long as you bought one game, basically, you're in. You've qualified for this. The other side benefit of this is things like Steam Greenlight. Like, people could have a company that puts out a game that's a piece of shit. They put it on Steam Greenlight, and they create 1 million fake accounts all to boost up their shit. So without that boosting factor now, you're limited to the real actual votes of people that have spent money on Steam. I do not see the downside of this. I think this is a great change. And I've seen message boards that used to do this in the past, and it wasn't even fight. It was like, you send in $1 to register your account for this message board, and it's not a lot of money, and people are like, you're trying to make money, but really you're just trying to weed out the real people from the fake, because fake people aren't going to spend $1 per fake account.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason to, right? I mean, they know their shit's going to get locked, or if they do, as soon as they spam, it's going to get taken away. So, I mean, yeah, I don't know. This is like a hard story to have an opinion on, because the opinion is just so like right there.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's
I don't even
no-brainer.
know. Yeah, it's like, I don't even know what to say about this, because yeah, sure. I mean, the only thing I could say is, why didn't this happen 5-6 years ago? I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer. Now that Steam is at the level that it is, it kind of can afford to do something like this. So
I think it's good overall.
yeah, I'm down.
All right. Next story.
Oh, next story is good stuff. Tulsa roommates stab each other over iPhone versus Android debate. This is awesome. All right, this is awesome. 2 men are hospitalized after an alcohol-fueled what? Alcohol?
What?
Really? That's weird. After an alcohol-fueled argument began over which phone is the better phone, iPhone or Android. By the way, the answer is iPhone.
iPhone.
Tulsa police say a woman found a man covered in blood stumbling around a parking lot of the Evergreen Apartments around 1 a.m. When police arrived at the apartment complex, they learned that the roommates had been drinking and arguing over their mobile phones, which is awesome. It'd be even better if they were texting their argument to each other. But unfortunately, that was not the case.
Yeah.
Police say the 2 men broke beer bottles and stabbed each other with them. That is some fucking gangster shit. I am a huge fan. Why go get a knife when you've got a bottle in your hand? It's fantastic. One of the men smashed the bottle over the other guy's head, which is, again, bar rules. If there is a beer and you are both drunk, someone has to have the bottle smashed over their head. These guys are playing by all the rules.
Yep. Nothing wrong. Nothing wrong
Checks
yet.
in every box. Huge fan. Police aren't sure who they will charge. First of all, you charge the Android guy, by the way. I just want to state that right now.
He's in the wrong.
He's in the wrong.
By definition.
He's got the wrong phone. It's not even the other guy's fault. Charges, or if charges will be filed at all, which is probably more fair. Both men are being treated at an area hospital for their injuries. Police did not respond when KTUL's photographer asked, which phone is better?
Okay. First off, it's awesome that the photographer on the scene for this, it's like, oh, yeah, there's 2 bloody guys, they're stabbed, all this shit's going on. And when they're questioning the police to get all this information, they're like, oh, and by the way, officer, which phone is better?
I like that he asked the officer. Like,
Yeah.
I think it's the officer's job to mediate the situation. And generally, the officer needs his job, I would say it's in his description, is to find fault, right? He's got to, that's part of the situation.
Yep.
He needs to assign blame somewhere. I mean, again, I don't know why he didn't just go straight to the Android guy. I feel like this is an open and shut case. Clearly, the iPhone guy was wronged.
Yeah.
The conversation should have never taken place.
No. Maybe they should have just sentenced him right on the spot. Like, we find you guilty of Android.
Right, yes.
Yeah, you're
It's
5 years.
$2,000 for Android, or you could buy an iPhone, show me the receipt, and then charges are dropped.
Yeah.
It's a simple scenario.
Yeah. This is a pay to play game here, okay?
Right, exactly. Right.
Like, you can get your bullshit fake Android communist bullshit phone. You go to your fake app stores full of viruses, full of non-apps. You can install them on your piece of shit. You can install that fucking Google Chrome extension, let you play. Like, there's a Google Chrome extension that lets you use your Android apps in Google Chrome. That should tell you it's a piece of shit right there, because you shouldn't be able to use your phone shit on your PC. They're 2 different things. Fuck that. I want my iPhone. I want to fucking bust this shit out. I'm going to be like, boom, fucking fuck that. Fuck these assholes. Fuck that fucking Android guy. I should break something right now and stab him.
Whoa.
Whew.
Well, I will say the only thing I am disappointed about is that they at least didn't wield the phones at each other and use them as a means to, because then I think you'd find out which phone was better in the end.
No, we already know which phone's better.
Stab them, right? Stab them with the,
Oh, you got a good iPhone stab there, bro.
Thank
You've been
you.
working out.
It's been a while. I've been dry. Derek, what do you think about this story?
Jay, this story has me saying, what the fuck? And on that, why don't we hop on over to the mailbag and voicemails? Altius asks, I know I usually ask a gaming question here, but I'd be remiss if I didn't ask, what are your thoughts on all of last week's Star Wars news?
Fucking amazing.
Algius. Oh my God. Goosebumps fucking all the way from my tip of my head down to my dick.
I don't even like to nerd rage on stuff like this so hard. Like, I don't like to nerd gas. Normally I'll see a trailer and I'll be like, it's probably going to be disappointing. And I think I've been that way since Phantom Menace, to be honest with you. If I was to pinpoint where my level of disappointment comes from, it's pretty much all the prequels. But this looks extremely good. And I know there's not that much. I mean, that's a thing. It's like, it's not like they showed us a lot.
No, we saw practical effects.
Right. Like, I didn't see the lens flare like everyone was worried about. Like, it's going to be a fucking lens flare movie. It's going to be like fucking Star Trek. Whatever. I get that. I mean, there was a chance for that to happen. But I didn't see any of that. It was really shot. It felt like it was shot in the old vein of Star Wars, which is, I think, a hard thing to do, given all the tech that we have available today.
Especially J.J. Abrams is probably
he's just not
using special effects for everything. He's like, oh yeah, CG. And he's like, no, we're doing this all practical effects like the old days. And even that little fucking rolling robot thing, that thing is a practical effect at fucking Star Wars Celebration. That shit rolled out on the stage. Like,
it's fucking awesome.
Legit. And it works like you see it in the movie.
Yeah.
It's insane.
I guess we can move into games too. We might as well use it. So we all saw that. I think the whole universe, not even the internet, exploded, and everyone generally, which is such a good feeling, everyone really has good vibes towards this. I probably have seen like 2 people maybe randomly upset about small little shit.
I haven't seen any.
So. I haven't seen any. I'm just making that up because I feel like there has to be.
There has to be one guy.
Some asshole out there's like, man, I guess it's fucking Star Wars. But I haven't. I mean, realistically, I haven't. But how then, because I think this goes to Althea's questions, and I'll ask it to you. How did you feel about the Battlefront trailer that soon followed?
Oh my God. That is like I saw actually. So I was in the EA appointment by myself last year at their press conference when you and Tiff were off gallivanting and eating lunch and drinking, which was probably good for you. But I saw the early footage of this, and then that ended up leaking online later. And that early, there was like early pre-alpha footage, and that looked amazing. And now that this footage is out, oh my God, this is like playing the fucking movies. It is absolutely fucking mind-blowing. I cannot wait for this. And the original rumors were like, it's going to be multiplayer only, no single-player stuff. And then over the weekend, they came out and they said, oh no, you're going to be able to play single-player. You're not going to need to play multiplayer. And
it's like drop in, drop out. They've got all the shit. I mean, anything you could really ask for so far from what I've seen, it looks good. The only question that remains, and I think it's a pretty good one, is like, it's all done in engine, but it's pre-rendered in engine, right? So we don't really know what the graphics are going to look like. Nor do we know, I believe it said somewhere in the trailer that it was on the PS4, what you were actually looking.
Yeah, they're getting some kickbacks from Sony. So all the demos are PS4 at this point.
You can only pre-order, I think, for PS4. At least you could when the trailer was released. It was only PS4. I don't know if it is now, but my big question is really, can it live up to the standards that it's shown? I generally hate it when video games do that, when they do like either a pre-render engine or obviously cinematics full on. This was at least using the engine that they're going to use. But what that's going to look like, can they keep up with that sort of particle effects that they had in game when you're actually playing? I don't know. But even if they come close to it, the biggest thing with Battlefront is gameplay. Like, it's always been that way. When Battlefront was out, it was not like the best looking game ever. It was just one of the best games made.
Yeah.
So if they can even just get close to that, I think they're going to have a huge hit. So.
No, yeah. I like the Star Wars news was excellent. It was fucking mind blowing. And I think Star Wars Celebration, of all the past years that I've seen the reports come out of it, this is probably one of the years to be the most excited from what we saw.
Yeah.
From it. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. And really one of the best times to be a Star Wars geek in the last 10 years. So.
Yep. New or old, like this appeals not just to not just us guys, but all my kids are excited about this. So
and that's awesome. Just knowing that's like a new generation of possible Star Wars fans that are going to grow up talking about this movie gives me a lot of hope. I hope that's the case. I mean, I really, really truly do.
J.J. Abrams, he said it from the beginning. He's a fan. And he wanted to do the fan service. He did not want to do. He's not George Lucas trying to redo, what he thinks he should have done or what he messed up. This is a fan wanting to make a movie for himself, and because he's a fan, it works out for all of us.
Totally agree.
All right. Well, if any of you have awesome feedback like that, give us a call, 773-527-2961. Email us at podcast@tooltoplay.com. You can also comment on this episode's thread on the Tool to Play homepage. And sponsors, remember, we're looking for some sponsors, and if you support them, it'll help support Still Got Games. So if you want to sponsor us, give us a call, 773-527-2961. Email us at podcast@tooltoplay.com. Tell us what you're selling. We'll tell you what you're going to pay us. We'll sell it. You pay us. Boom. Done. Twitter us up. You can find everything Tool to Play related at twitter.com/Tool to Play. Everything podcast related at twitter.com/still_got_game. I, king of the fucking internet, god of everything that's fucking holy, at twitter.com/Derek Nolan.
And of course, you can find me at twitter.com/DudeIRock.
Facebook the fuck out of us. Facebook.com/Tool to Play. Facebook.com/Derek Nolan.
Facebook.com/DudeIRock.
We also have this little thing called a YouTube channel, youtube.com/Tool to Play. That's your place to find all of Tool to Play's archive video content. That includes episodes of this show, Still Got Game, all of our other one-off shows, and fan favorites like Hits Motherfucking. And by the way, that's still fucking trending. I think this week it was number 3 worldwide on Twitter. The week before that, it was number 2 worldwide and number 1 in the US. So if you want Hits Motherfucking Hit, come back. Hashtag that shit. Put it out on Twitter, and we'll do the best we can to get Hit to bring that back. Get the crinkle going. Also, please rate and review this podcast in iTunes. We need some 5-star ratings. Just click the little 5-star button in iTunes, and if you're so inclined, feel free to write a little sentence to go with it. These guys are gods. Love the show. Derek D. Smooth Nolan has a deliciously handsome voice, and I would like to eat him up like a bar of chocolate. Joel Dude I Rock Albert's hair gets bigger and bigger with each episode. Whatever you want to write, as long as it comes along with a 5-star review, it really doesn't matter. Actually, you can put the letter A for all we care. But if you want to write something nice about me, that's cool too, because I like to read those things. Also, we got the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Tool to Play. That is where you get all of Tool to Play's live streaming. And we also have the team page, twitch.tv/team/Tool to Play. So you go to either of those, and we are broadcasting on there, whether it is us broadcasting this show, whether it's Hit live streaming games, whether it's me, whether it's Jay, whether it's LB, whether it's Sarcasmo. We have a whole group of people that are all streaming on our team page. But definitely twitch.tv/Tool to Play. Go there and subscribe. Give us a little money back down at the bottom. Subs.
Sub it up.
You can follow us for free, or you can sub and help us. That's like, if you're not into whoever sponsors us at some point, and you're like, for years we had Audible. Maybe you're a guy that you just hate books. You don't want to read. You don't want to even fake read. You don't want to hear read. You just want to play video games. You didn't want to do that. Well, you make up for that. Go there, sub, twitch.tv/Tool to Play, subscribe. And that is like you cutting out the middleman of Audible and giving us the money directly. And that would mean a lot to us. It is your definite, it's like mainlining your support for the show. Little sub
up.
Yep. All right. Last but not least, I want to remind each and every one of you, join us each and every Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, twitch.tv/Tool to Play. And on that, Jay, why don't we wrap this fucking our triumphant return episode up? I am Derek D. Smooth Nolan.
And I am Joel Dude I Rock Albert.
We're back.